Welcome to PlayStation News, Rumours and Leaks. In the video today, we will be discussing the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, or the snippet that's gone out on the internet, which by the way is brilliant if you're into Final Fantasy. Battlefield, who remembers them? Apparently Battlefield is going to do something, which I'll explain a little later in the video, but they are going to do something, and if their aspirations are realised, apparently it's going to be the best across the gaming industry within the genre of shooter games. I'll explain more in the video a little later on. Who here thinks Battlefield is better than Call of Duty? Let me know down below in the comments section if you play Battlefield or Call of Duty and which one you prefer. And what is it with Naughty Dog? Every time we hear about Naughty Dog trying to release something, we seem to have more leaks, and this time we have leaks about The Last of Us 2 remaster, and they're appearing all over the internet again. And finally, Sony is Breaking Bad across Japan, and I'll go into more detail about that too. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. So for those of you who haven't seen this yet, the new footage of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been showcased on Twitter, revealing the game's fast travel option that allows players to jump into key locations on the game's massive map in mere seconds, thanks in no small part to the PS5's SSD. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth features a large world to explore as Cloud and his companion set out from Midgar across the continent in pursuit of Sephiroth. Much like the original Final Fantasy VII, the second chapter in the remake series allows players to explore large areas of the world, although it's clear this element has been greatly expanded for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The creative director of Final Fantasy Rebirth actually went on to say that he decided to take on the project as he knew that someone else at Square Enix would beat him to it later on. The development team also confirmed late last year that FF7 Rebirth will launch with 3 difficulty settings and detailed what players can expect from Red. It's Red with some Roman numerals after the name, or pronounced Nanaki, as he becomes a full-time party member. Square Enix will release Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for PlayStation 5 on February the 29th of this year, so not too long to go now, just over a month before we get our hands onto this Final Fantasy game. Let me know if you're looking forward to it. You know what? I am looking forward to the game, but games like this make me nervous because I don't have a lot of time to play games. I'm going to play The Last of Us Remastered, right? It's going to take me probably the best part of 8 or 9 weeks to finish the game. So I'll just have weekends to play it, maybe the odd hour or 2 during the week, but it's mainly the weekend. So for me, it's going to take me a long time to finish. Games like Final Fantasy take hours. Have I got that much time to play it? I wouldn't mind diving into it, but I don't know if I'm going to play and enjoy the whole experience. Let me know your thoughts down below if you plan to play this game, and yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on it really, and then perhaps I'll try it after I read your review. Let me know down below. So moving on to our next piece. It's been a while since we've heard anything about Battlefield, and I wonder why that is. Could it have been for the absolute disaster that was Battlefield 2042 when it launched? It did get better, but it was an absolute nightmare when it first came out. Battlefield used to have a real good shooter franchise, and then over the last few years it just hasn't lived up to some of the previous games in the entry. And when you've got Call of Duty, especially with this last few games knocking it out the park, apart from Modern Warfare 3, you know, the rest of the Call of Duty games have been good, but Battlefield really has a battle on their hands to get back up to where they used to be. Now, if the next piece of news is true, it's likely going to be music to the ears of fans of the Battlefield series. So what this piece of news focuses on is the destructible environments within the Battlefield games. And what they're saying is that this is all down to a recent job advert spotted by website Tech4Gamers, coming by the way of a post on developer Ripple Effects website, the electronic arts owned studio known for its work on the Battlefield series. The job listing for a visual effects director notes that the candidate will help to create the most realistic and exciting destruction features or destruction effects in the industry. It adds, in this hands-on role, you will create a stunning real-time visual effects using a mastery of high-quality particle effects, textures, and shaders. Now, Battlefield games have always had dynamic and destructive environments which have featured in many of the earlier Battlefield titles. However, titles such as Bad Company 2, Battlefield 4, and the most recent entry, Battlefield 2042, lacked any real destruction, and it was a source of critique and other points as well. Dogged with a particularly rough launch period, Battlefield 2042 has seen somewhat of a resurgence since its shockingly poor November 2021 release, with publisher EA noting in an earnings call late last year saying that with the launch of Season 6, the community is responding positively, driving record engagement on Steam. This was following on from EA CEO Andrew Wilson's comments on a separate earnings call the prior year, where he proclaimed that the publisher would take the long view with respect to its support for Battlefield 2042, and that's a good thing to hear. Hate it when games are rushed to appease shareholders. The devs are not stupid. Just allow them the time to be creative and allow them to finish the games properly, and if they are allowed the time to complete the games and make them the best as they can be, especially in terms of the gaming experience for the gamers, the gaming experience will be far better, resulting in the gamers playing more often and probably resulting in spending more money in the bloody in-game microtransaction, the bane of the gaming industry. But in all seriousness, I do enjoy a good Battlefield game and the occasional Call of Duty game too. So hopefully both can go at it neck and neck and create that level of competition between them, which is better for the gaming industry. So guys, do me a favor, whilst you're here, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Let's move on. So Naughty Dog must be one of the most jinxed studios out there. What is it about Naughty Dog? It seems as if whenever they have something to talk about, there seems to be some kind of a leak or something breaks and everything's out there on the internet, especially when it comes to probably the greatest game ever made. Oh, I've said it now. Can open, worms everywhere. This game is so divisive, but I'm not really going to talk about the game per se on this video. I will do that when I dive back into The Last of Us 2 Remastered this weekend. So come on, baby. Anyway, The Last of Us 2 Remastered. The street date has been broken ahead of its release, with one player leaking its gameplay and new content. This is on the internet. So the release date was the 19th, but already we have footage of the remaster out there. So the official launch, Friday the 19th. Physical copies are already in store, and in some regions they're on the shelves. But of course, gameplay is already out there. I'm not going to publish it on here, on the video, on the channel, but there is gameplay floating around on the internet if you look closely enough. Without spoiling anything, there's about 6 different skins for each of the characters in the roguelike no return mode. So Naughty Dog has previously confirmed that players will be able to play as Ellie, Joel, Abby, Dina, Jesse, Tommy, Lev, Yara, Mel and Manny in the no return mode. And from the leaked footage, the article goes on to say that the no return mode looks like fun and tension in equal parts. And we all know about the tension in The Last of Us Part 2. It is an intense game. Each of the playable characters in No Return come with different traits to suit different playstyles. All the character skins are unlockable by playing and progressing. The Last of Us 2 Remastered is out officially on Friday the 19th. If you haven't played it and want to experience probably the most brutal game ever made, go ahead, pick it up, have fun, enjoy a masterpiece. But it is intense and I can't wait to get stuck back into it. I'll post out a few videos on my channel next week for those that are interested in some gameplay. I probably won't post the whole game. It's not, I'm not going to sit here and do a walkthrough. We've already played the game a few times when it first came out, but I'll do small bits at a time while I enjoy the brutal head smashing and throat slitting as I make my way through the game. Let's move on to the final piece of news here. So who said PlayStation had lost touch or given up on Japan? PlayStation is breaking bad in Japan for real. Sony managed to sell 2.6 million PS5 consoles in Japan last year, representing a colossal 124% increase year over year. Of course, it's not as it seems, because the dramatic upswing was because of the dismal hardware shortages that plagued the platform in the post-pandemic period. So of course, there's going to be a massive percentage increase, but 2.6 million consoles sold in Japan in an area that people are saying they've lost touch, that's pretty good. The result, however, represents the highest number of console sales in a single year for PlayStation since the PS2 in 2004. So it's actually very, very good, best in 20 years. So it is a positive result. However, PS5 is nowhere near where it needs to be in terms of the software sales in Japan. All of the country's top 10 best-selling games, best-selling physical games for 2023 have been Switch related, which just goes on to show the dominance that Mario is enjoying in Japan. In fact, while the PS5 hardware numbers are decent, it's perhaps worth noting that the Switch sold almost double, and that being within its final kind of twilight years. It's unlikely Sony will ever be able to topple Nintendo in its home territory, and the inevitable Switch 2 is going to cause massive sales for Nintendo and further headaches for Sony to overcome. The good news is that it is shifting hardware pretty well, and while software is still lagging behind, there's at least something for PlayStation to build on here. And you know what will challenge Switch 2 in Japan? Take a guess. What's going to challenge the Switch 2 in Japan? A PlayStation handheld. If a PlayStation handheld is introduced, which plays games in 4K, which can access the internet, you can play your PS Plus games anywhere in the world on your handheld. You can also play your physical games via PS5 or remote play, and you can plug in your wireless headphones and off you go. That would challenge the Switch 2 in Japan massively. Also, a Sony PlayStation handheld would be virtually impossible to get hold of around the world, such would be the demand. If PlayStation released a handheld, would you buy it? I would. I'm not talking about the Portal, although you could say it's a handheld, you could argue that, but you do need a PS5 to play the Portal. What about an absolute out and out, like the Vista, right? The PS2 the Vita, right? Actual portable handheld in today's day and age with all the technology we have, it'll be phenomenal. Phenomenal. You wouldn't be able to get enough of them. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thank you for checking out the video. If you can do me a favour whilst you're here, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next PlayStation news, rumours and leaks video.